Yeah, I'm just trying to.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tate Heyman. I'm in 11th grade, and this is Harper Preston, also in 11th grade. We're both members of upper level language classes, which is language levels 3 and above. That encompasses 3, 4, 5, and AP. And we were here to propose to you the idea of re-implementing international trips for the upper levels language classes. We think that these trips would be very enriching to students here and serve to educate students in the school about other cultures in other countries. We think it's a good way to excel in the speaking and listening portion of language learning, and we also believe it's a good way to learn about other nations and hopefully, foster empathy. Harper is also going to propose how these trips will fit into our PRIDE acronym that the school is very centered around, and we think the trip would fill these very well.
The first letter of PRIDE is P, and it stands for Practical Skills and Personal Growth. These trips will help provide experiences interacting with foreign people and enhancing language skills. It will also expand students' comfort zones and fosters a more tolerant environment when they come back to school. The exposure to different cultures will help broaden the perspective of students at PRHS, and it will also help students explore potential future career paths.
Next slide, Dave.
The second letter of PRIDE is R, and it stands for Responsibility and Respect. These trips will have a big responsibility that comes along with it, and it will help push students to become more accountable for their actions and just the things they do while they're on the trip. And students will develop more respect for their peers and teachers, chaperones, and the general public. These trips will also help with personal growth, including money budgeting and selecting daily choices throughout your trips. And they also gain experience in leadership roles that they'll be presented on the trips. The third letter of PRIDE is I, and it stands for Innovation and Critical Thinking. Students will have opportunities to showcase their intelligence in their foreign language, and critical thinking will be essential as they will be posed and be face-to-face with the native speakers of the foreign language you are speaking, and you'll have to be able to respond to them. And the immersion in the French and Spanish speaking countries will enhance their language skills, and upon returning, these students will be evaluated on their skills, and they will be presented with a chance to share their experience with future language classes. The fourth letter of PRIDE is D, and it stands for Diversity and Awareness. Language trips will play a key role in developing the language program at PRHS for future generations to come. And many students at Plymouth or anywhere have not experienced other cultures, and these trips foster an authentic experience. And students will also gain a deeper understanding of what diverse cultures are like. And this experience will open students' eyes to new opportunities that may be presented to them along the way. The last letter is E, and it stands for Engagement and Communication. And this is probably the most important part of PRIDE, and it pertains the most to what we're trying to get at here with the trips, is because you'll be put face-to-face with native speakers, and you'll be able to further better your speaking skills and listening skills. And they will gain experiences that will benefit them in the future, and during the language program and in their future paths in life.
Thank you.
And Tate will present the next part.
I hope you guys all agree with our aspects of PRIDE and how re-implementing language trips will fit into them. Should you decide to push our agenda to the full board, we've already prepared a plan with Students Love Travel, a company I've researched and communicated with. I've been told you might be familiar with Jump Street.
Yes, Jump Street.
Jump Street, which helped our students go to Quebec this year.
No, Montreal.
Montreal, rather, sorry. Students Love Travel is very similar to that. They foster a really good overseas travel plan. They have a full itinerary planned out for any schools that wish to go, depending on the size. everything the students do is out of pocket. It's not a cost to the school, and the program pays for chaperones. I've had a positive experience with them. I know a couple people actually who've gone to Paris with them, and they've all said Students Love Travel was very user-friendly, and the tour guides are very helpful in understanding culture and language around the world. We also understand that going overseas is a big responsibility, and it's not all just experiencing culture. We hope that students will use their experience overseas to promote the language of their choice to underclassmen or students in the lower Spanish classes. In these trips, levels 3, 4, 5, and AP would be selected to go. Currently, there are 100 students enrolled in these levels of courses, and following a travel experience, students should be expected to create and present a summative travel portfolio, which is aimed at students in levels 1 and 2 to hopefully promote more engagement and enrollment in overseas travel and language in the future. We also understand that there are a lot of schools in the district, or not the district rather, in a division, similar division in size, that have also gone on overseas trips and have benefited positively from this experience. Cobrown Northwood Academy recently completed a trip to France. Recently completed the trip to France, which is beneficial. They are D2, just like us. Sauhegan and Pembroke have also gone to France, and Interlakes has gone to Paris. Yes, which is France. All these schools, we think, have benefited very positively from overseas travel, and their students reflect that in their superior language skills and communication. We hope you'll consider our proposal to move on to the full board, and we truly believe that moving on with our international trip proposal will benefit the school community as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Questions for either one of these two?
Yes. Very good presentation, very thorough, very nice.
Thank you.
Maybe I missed it in here. How long would a trip be?
Generally, trips are about a week, 5 days to a full week. I know that my father, who worked at Interlakes High School, went on the trip to Paris, and he was gone for a full week, but there are options on either side of that.
There's some 10-day options as well in most of the countries. And there's options to go to like 2 countries at once. Like you take like a trip to one country, and then the next part of the trip you go to the next country.
The representative from Students Love Travel was very friendly, and they're very flexible with their schedules.
When did you want to start traveling?
We understand.
Proposed for?
Yeah, we understand it would take a pretty long time to facilitate. We did have a goal for the following year, April break. The French class did.
Okay.
April break of 2026, that would be.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Didn't we used to do this here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why did it stop?
Well, nothing has really recovered since COVID.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay, but
yeah.
that's what
Well,
basically.
yeah, and I
ended.
think you might have had a few gap years just in terms of interest or proficiency, or I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
certainly nothing has really come back in front of the board since COVID.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we never discontinued it, it just hasn't
Correct.
happened. So
Right.
what would need to happen to pick it back up again? I mean, what is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know officially, quite honestly, but I mean, I just have sort of adopted the idea when there's a major shift that we would
Yeah.
push it through committee and bring it to the board, so it was sort of a public known thing that it was going to resume or start again. Yeah.
And I think the travel
I think you have to.
prior to this was just to Canada. It really wasn't to Europe.
Yeah, so
as
this is
far
like
as I
a
can
plane.
remember.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They did,
Yeah.
back when Paul Floyd was a teacher here, they went to France.
So that, when was that? 'Cause I don't know Paul Floyd. I've been here almost 20
So,
years.
a little bit of time, right? Yeah, a little.
So definitely,
20 years.
there's probably some other parameters in it, but I think think from my end, if the board's comfortable with it, I can look at the liability piece and kind of what pieces we need to get to move forward with that. Especially if they're looking to travel next spring. I don't know when you would need approval to plan for that, or how many kids. But we can look at our end from the business office as far as what we need, and it sounds like it's self-funded.
Are you looking for a motion tonight?
I think we could look for a motion
To
tonight
move it to the full board? For,
Yeah, that would be great if you're comfortable with
I've
that.
entertained a motion to move this concept proposal to the full board for its consideration.
I'll make that motion.
Bonnie, and seconded by, any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Was there a budget, Kyla, or?
Well, it sounds like it's self-funded.
Pretty self-funded, yeah. And there's some fundraising components, you know, there might be some scholarship availability out there, you know, but not a budget item necessarily, no.
So if they don't fund and make that money, they don't go?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, the motion was made and approved, so I guess we can move on to the physical education.
Thank you.
Would you just
Great,
say
thank you.
Good luck with it, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good job. Kyla, would you also look into the insurance on that? Students traveling out of the country, what coverage would,
Yeah, that's
all
what
of
I
that?
think from the
Is that
business
part of
side
all
of
that
it.
you'll be looking into?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little bit of background, very little. We did have the trips to France, and when those kind of went away, there were individuals in the community that came forward to present trip opportunities, like Mr. Furman, I think is vice
Yeah, and I
chair.
think he does that still a little bit kind of privately.
Right.
Patricia Rella did it
Yeah.
privately with the kids.
Oh, privately,
here
right,
From the
yeah.
school,
Yeah.
Right.
but yeah.
Yeah.
No, my son in 2013, they went to Costa Rica with the Spanish
Costa Rica?
classes.
Private, through the school? Yeah, okay, yeah. So again, I think it's just been not something, hasn't been on the list of priorities since COVID.
He said it was on the school.
Oh.
More presentation.
No more presentations, yeah.
Okay.
Tate, could you just go to that first light switch and just raise up those lights for me? Thank you, guys.
Thank you to all of you.
Thank
Nice
you.
job.
The one closer to me. And just the, yeah, that's good. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
The physical education update?
Yes, I just wanted to make you aware of a little bit of restructuring in PE in terms of courses. So Mr. Sullivan has come to me with a little bit of a restructure. The department is on board with adding an upper level PE. Currently we have upper class PE, and he would like to differentiate the upperclassmen between kids who really just need the PE requirement versus kids that are looking to have a higher level of sport, maybe specific training, skill development, in terms of strength and conditioning. So he's just he made a proposal to add a course called Upper Level PE. He's also asking that kids, in order to take that course, have already met their graduation requirement of PE. So we're adding an elective for upperclassmen, and we're adding an opportunity for kids that just want a little bit more concentrated effort in physical education. Additionally, Audrey Ringline is included, and she's gonna include in the electives mobility for athletes. So things like yoga, conditioning, Pilates, things that enhance not only a dancer, because that's her area of expertise, but another option for upperclassmen who need the 0.5 credit to be fully enrolled or want something for movement. Either because they're involved in something or just because it's good lifelong wellness. So both upper level PE, upperclassmen elective, and mobility for athletes, upperclassmen elective. I just wanted to update you on that restructuring. I think it's pretty progressive. They came together nicely as a department, and I think it'll get some nice enrollment from the upperclassmen.
That was mobility for athletes?
Mobility for athletes, yeah. Yep.
So that was kind of my question for further explanation, specifically for those who are in an athletic program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I think there could be others who are not in an athletic
Well,
program.
it won't be specifically, for them, but just kids that want a little bit more intense opportunity or sport specific. Yeah.
Because I could potentially see students who don't have time for athletics, but might want to do this in a school program. Would that be open to them?
Sure, and they can either take that or they can still take upper class PE, which is a pretty general, more like badminton, basketball versus like sport specific training.
So these would both
Yeah.
be electives?
Electives, correct. Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Sure.
Any other business?
No other business.
Any thoughts from committee members? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
1 second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
All right, Paul, you ready? I'll get this for now.
Call the meeting to order. We'll go to agenda review and disposition.
Nothing to add or take away.
And we'll review or approve the minutes of October 15th, 2024. And I get a motion? And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm an other present, but I am a member.
Opposed, abstained? To update on facilities.
Yeah, thank you. So next week's going to be a busy week here. We have a number of things going on, so I just wanted to update you on that. There are 2 inspections going on. The fire will come and inspect the kitchen hoods in both the kitchen in the cafeteria and here in culinary. As well as the water department is going to do their biannual backflow testing. So those are things that obviously we leave for when there's no students around and the building's not in use. So those are 2 annual things that are going on. Additionally, we have had RALs here preventively jetting the locker room lines and drains. We are having some backup in the locker room shower areas in both girls and boys. So we've had RALs in here at every break, at every kind of place where we can hit pause on the schedule. They're coming Monday, and on Tuesday, we are bringing Eastern Pipe in, and they're gonna attempt to do the camera to find out diagnostically where we really are in need of some new drains. This has been on the CIP, it's kind of been sort of bumped along. The jetting has seemed to sort of maintain us, but we know that it's not a forever solution. So we're just trying to get a diagnostic so that we can obviously put real numbers into a CIP if we need to do anything in those locker rooms. So that's all happening next week. And then lastly, Mort Donahue's coming in. The emergency lights that are in the gym, for whatever reason, and I don't know why, they're not connected to the generator. So when we lost power in that that kind of apocalypse day where there was no phone power, we noticed that the gym lights didn't illuminate for the emergency lighting. So it's just a reconnection, and he's scheduled to do that work. So that's all happening next week here. So it'll be a busy week. Liza's around, and she'll sort of oversee all of that, but that's sort of what's on the docket for next week. Questions about next week's work? How'd I do, Paul? I'm much more comfortable at teaching and learning. I have to really practice this conversation.
Share with them why.
Issues that have been around for a...
Yeah. And I just have a couple other things just to update you. Not happening next week, but happening in the near future. There's 4 bathrooms that were part of the 2019 CTE renovation. The 2 that are here, and the 2 that are outside of Otto's. So it seems that the material that was used in both the vanities and the encasing around the sink is not withstanding the cleaning. So they were wood particle board, and wood, so they're falling down essentially. One of them is already like down. So we are replacing those with the same material that are in all of our new single stall bathrooms, which is corian and aluminum. So it's obviously going to withstand
cost,
water. Well, no, these four were not part of the original renovation. So we've been watching these and sort of patching this. So this is all sort of budgeted under typical repairs and maintenance. So they were anticipating this need coming. So that work is scheduled. And then the only other thing that's we have approved is we had an assessment on gate 1 right here, which is the gate to the north wing where Dead River comes in and out for the oil. It's not wired correctly, so the wireless system needs a reboot. It should work wirelessly, and it's not. It's having to be opened and closed manually. So there is, Mark Everett is working with a company that's going to come out and just rewire that north wing so that it swings, and because it's been opened and closed manually, and because of the plowing, the posts are a little bit, the gate isn't swinging at the right, angles that we want it to. So there's just some work being done around that gate so that it's more efficient for specifically Dead River to come in and out of there. So that's just work that's sort of on the horizon, but not yet scheduled. And then we're just kind of keeping a running list of what we think would be priorities for end of year funds, but once we get there, I have sort of a priority list that we can talk about. Questions?
The work on the bathrooms is budgeted, we're going to move ahead.
Yes, because that was anticipated repairs and maintenance. They were sort of watching it over time, so yes, we have that. Yeah. Yeah.
You got updated quote yet for AC3 and AC1?
Well, we only paid for the design. Right, I don't have a quote. I do have a current issue going on up there though.
Yep.
So they are working on it today, in fact. So I hope we get that quote soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that placeholder was a big number, as you know. And obviously it's an older number, so I'm anticipating it being greater than $864,000 if we did it all in one kit and caboodle. But right now, we're hoping that we can parcel that project out like you often do in bigger numbers across a CIP, but it's AC2 and AC3. It's AC2 that's out. Is that the one that's on the front of the building? AC1 and 3. So we are, he's really confident that we're not going to have to do all in one, but it does heat the majority of the classrooms in the front of the building. So we are watching that as we speak. How's that? How'd I do? Like a little bit of a foreign language, but the more I'm here, obviously, and the more I see a whole budget cycle start to finish, the more it makes sense. Even today, Janice and I were like, wait, how did we do that? Because it's just a learning curve. But it's Eliza, and I should congratulate Liza. Liza today presented and shared with me and Kyla. She finished her certification for facilities manager. So she is relieved and excited and, feeling really confident in her skills. So it's really exciting to see her sort of lead, quite a few things that she really hasn't ever led before and, obviously demonstrating the competency to do that. So it was really exciting. So congratulations to Liza.
She's been doing great.
Yeah, she's been great, yeah. And the more Mark is here, and kind of lives in the building and in the district, the better it gets too. So, yeah. It was a good prep for today, so I'm happy to have information to share with you about the building.
The only other piece we had as far as updates to the lighting project is that we had a meeting with Tenny Mountain this week, and they have committed that they are going to, obviously if it passes, they will commit to funding a portion of it as well. So that's another business that was excited to hear about it. And then just to follow up on the emergency piece, I know that was a question at the deliberative as far as, in the marketing tools, that it was a question about what the emergency piece was on the marketing. It really is for the lighting as far as to exit the building if there's a fire alarm. It's for distribution of materials. It's for a helicopter landing, which has happened before, actually. It's not for, we wouldn't go out there, obviously, for any disaster pieces, but it was for more of a gathering place for distribution of materials and stuff like that. So I just want to clarify that a little bit. Our meetings with the community representatives have gone really well. We'll see what the vote brings, and we'll go from there, you know, and then we can see what direction we want to go into afterwards. So I think that'll be good. Any questions on that? That's it.
No. All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Second.
How's that?
All in favor?
That's a good one.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for the audience, for the kids, they were,
Great.
yeah.